I don't want to ride it till the wheels run off, but I definitely got a few more miles. In WWE, there's a lot of glitz and glamour. I'm an athlete first.
You're a freak athlete.
I don't consider myself the greatest athlete.
Did getting released come as a surprise?
I wasn't that surprised. I'm always going to be synonymous with WWE, but I'm open to be anywhere.
Max Caster tweeted that he doesn't want you. There's unfinished business for you in WWE.
Team Angle could have gone a little longer. The Hurt Business could have been going to this day.
Working with Dusty.
Dusty's on my Mount Rushmore.
Who else is on there?
Dusty, Austin, Taker, Sting.
I'm curious what your next move is going to be.
I'm curious too.
Look at the size of this man. I mean, it's really, look at the size of your arms.
I work out just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I try to stay in shape just a little bit.
I mean, it's a lifestyle, but
yeah, well, like I like to look good.
Yeah, well, you've been wrestling a lot still.
Yeah, I've had a few matches. On the Indies, I've been to Australia, Canada, the UK. I have an upcoming show in France, so I'm having a really good time. I got to work with a few guys who I probably otherwise would have never worked with. Particularly a guy in Australia named Tommy Knight. I had a great match with him, completely unexpected great match. And I just recently, wrestled kid Leon Slater. I really enjoyed my match with him. And so far, like everything's been really cool on the indie scene. Like I'm really enjoying it.
When we talked last year, you said, I love being on the road. I don't really love being at home. I just love the energy of being on the road.
Right.
Go, go, go. You've been at home a lot more recently. How are you dealing with that?
So, a lot of time at the gym.
Clearly.
Honestly, it's been really cool because I've been able to do things that, I've missed out on in the past. Like, for example, going to my daughter's college graduation, my other daughter's high school graduation. These are things that, I've missed out on so much family time over my 24 years of being in the wrestling business, and you miss so much. And, those things are important. And those are some of the things that I really enjoy that I'm able to do. I'm smart with my money, so I'm not pressed to get out there. I have time to really consider what I want to do going forward. But I play a lot of Tekken.
That's your game?
That's my game. I have a love-hate relationship with the latest one, but it's just a chance for me to really enjoy life. And again, at home and on the road, like it's just, I'm just really trying to enjoy myself this time around.
Did getting released from WWE come as a surprise?
Yes and no. Yes, because I know there was more for me to do there. There was more opportunities there. And I'm more surprised that they chose not to take advantage of those opportunities. But I also knew that if they weren't going to do anything, then, it's just a matter of time. We got a lot of talent there, a lot of rotation. I've been there for a long time, and, I understand it's a business. So yeah, it sucks for me. But at the end of the day, it's a business.
But it just felt like it was a big surprise because on one hand, you've got Shawn Michaels saying, you are a future Hall of Famer.
Right.
You're absolutely going to be in the Hall of Fame. And then not long after that, you get released. So, of course, you're still a Hall of Famer, but why not keep you around?
Honestly, that's a question you got to ask them. Obviously, I'm more than happy to be around, but again, I just look at everything as a business decision. I don't take anything personal. Yes, I'm just as disappointed as most people, but at the end of the day, it's a job. Got to move on. You have to move on eventually. And again, like I said, I put about 18 combined years with WWE, so I've been there a long time. So, and sometimes you just need to move on.
You had a lot of your friends, colleagues get released, and you didn't. You hung around a lot. When you finally did get that call, I'm guessing you weren't expecting it.
I had a hint when they did the whole recruiting thing, when I wasn't assigned to a show. That was kind of my first, this doesn't feel right. You know, that was my first this doesn't feel right moment. And then as time went on, you know, you try to have conversations and things like that. Nothing's really gaining traction. And again, you get the hints. So when the call actually came, I kind of figured, I wasn't that surprised. I was surprised, but I wasn't that surprised.
Was there any talk about making you a producer, doing something backstage?
There was talk of me possibly becoming a trainer at some point. I don't think that door is closed. I just haven't pursued it yet.
You still want to wrestle?
Yes. I love training people. I love teaching, you know, and that comes from my amateur wrestling background. But at this point, I still think a little selfishly. I feel like I have a few more things that I'd like to do, I'd like to accomplish. So while, yes, I definitely am interested, I have to put aside my own ambitions to really be able to do that job correctly. And right now, at least today, I'm not ready to not think a little selfishly.
Well, it doesn't feel like you've lost a step.
It doesn't feel like it. Sometimes I wonder.
Doesn't look like it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm, you know, I've been fortunate enough that, you know, I can still go with anybody. I can still match any style. I can adapt to any situation. And I feel like that's been one of my gifts throughout my career. And yeah, like I said, I don't want to ride it till the wheels run off, but I definitely got a few more miles on.
I mean, you're a freak athlete. And even at this stage of your career, you're still a freak athlete.
You know, I'm flattered that everyone praises me for my athleticism, and it served me well. But I tell, you know, anyone when we have these conversations, you know, I don't consider myself the greatest athlete or anything like that. There's just too many guys. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, guys like Ricochet, who does stuff that, you know, I've never even considered.
Is Brock Lesnar on that list?
Brock Lesnar is absolutely on that list because Brock is a freak. He's a different kind of animal, but he is like I think I've said this to you before. He's the most phenomenal athlete I've ever personally seen.
It just feels like there's more you can do. You know, like that Mark Henry quote. I've got more left in the tank.
All right. I've got tons left in the tank. It's just a matter of whether or not anyone wants to use it. Like I said, I'm always going to be synonymous with WWE.
Yeah.
But I'm open to be anywhere. You know what I mean? So,
have you had any of those conversations?
I had a brief conversation with AEW that hasn't really bore any fruit yet, but you know, I'm still open.
What about TNA?
TNA I haven't spoken with yet. I'm more than willing to work with them. I haven't talked to them. I know MLW has reached out, so I've been presented with options. I just haven't found something that I'm satisfied with.
Big thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this episode and for always supporting the channel. I don't use the internet anywhere without NordVPN. I mean, you've got a lock on your door. You should protect yourself when you're online too. Public Wi-Fi is notorious for being a spot where hackers like to hang out to try to steal your data. NordVPN protects you on there, and I love how easy it is to use, whether that's on your phone, your tablet, or your laptop. And you can change your virtual location with just one click and access content that's not available where you live. You can also use it to get pay-per-views for a fraction of the cost. So head to nordvpn.com/CVV to get yourself protected and to save yourself some money. Look at this deal they have going on right now. Less than $3 a month will get you covered, and you get 4 extra months for free. That's nordvpn.com/CVV. nordvpn.com/CVV.
What did you think when Max Caster tweeted that he doesn't want you? We don't want him, he said.
Oh, wow. So, I guess my first thought was, who is this? Like, I really don't know him. I have nothing against him. As far as I know, I've never met him. I was more shocked that he would say something like that. And again, I don't know him. I don't have a relationship with him.
The way he explained it to me was, I don't want somebody else taking my spot or taking a spot which I could have. And I said, well, what if someone else coming in brings new fans in? What if people who weren't watching the product now are watching because someone like Shelton comes in? Right. Now they become a fan of you. And he was just like, I don't see it that way. And he's just like, it's a spot that somebody else would be taking that I could have.
Right. So to that, I would say, one, you're already on the roster. And whatever you're doing there, if you're not happy, then you need to change that. I'm still on the outside. At this point, I'm really no threat to you. But if I were to come in, someone with my name, you're looking at me as a threat. I'm looking rather than an asset.
Yeah.
Because one, if I were to say go to AEW or any company, to me, my job there is to, again, bring more fans, put more eyes on you. And my thing is, I want to work with these people. So, at this stage in my career, I want to help other talent. So if you're looking at this as, oh, you're stealing my spot. Well, first of all, if I can steal it, it wasn't your spot. Like, I can't take Roman Reigns' spot. I can't take Swerve's spot. I can't take anyone's spot. However, you can lose your spot. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, you can't have something that wasn't meant for you.
Right. Mm-hmm. So if I come there, if I were to come there or anywhere, there's a reason I'm being brought in. And I would think it's to help grow the company and help bring more eyes there. So if anything, you would think you would welcome in new talent, or even, I shouldn't say new talent. You should welcome in old established talent, because that gives you another opportunity to work with someone who can elevate you so that spot that you're so afraid of losing, it helps you secure it, because now you're working with people who elevate your game. You're working with people with experience. You're working with people who fans know and will tune in to watch, because I don't know anyone running around with Max Caster merch. I don't know anyone. He's not a household name. He's, and
there's a lot of Scissor Me shirts. There are a lot of Scissor Me shirts.
Yeah. So maybe I'm from the wrong generation, but scissoring is, I have a very different idea of what that means. But no, like and again, maybe he was in character. I mean, I don't know. There's a million different ways. For me, it's really, kid, I've been around for 25 years. You know what I mean? Like, if you're worried about your spot, then if you're worried about your spot being taken by me, someone who's been around for 25 years, and chances are, if I came there, I probably wouldn't be there very long. How old is he? Like, bro, you've got years more to develop. If anything, I come in, help you, give you a piece of knowledge, and move on, whether you want it or not. But if you're so worried about your spot, I don't really think I'm that big of a threat to you. There's tons of people coming in there all the time.
And I don't think it was directly at you. It was just like, hey, maybe Shelton should go to AEW is what a fan tweeted, right? And you commented on that. And then I think for him, it was just like, we don't want another person taking my potential spot. But here's the thing. Shelton Benjamin doesn't put on bad matches. I can't name one. I can't name one.
I tried not to.
Can you name a bad Shelton Benjamin match? I thought so. You can't. You can't. Because there's never happened.
Well,
no.
Hold on. I should say that I can't think of a bad performance on my part. I can think of bad matches, but they weren't necessarily because of me.
But you elevate everybody that you're in the ring with.
I try to.
So if they're not that great, they will rise to your level rather than you falling to theirs.
Right.
And then when you get, when you're in the ring with someone like a Shawn Michaels, it's like, oh my goodness.
Like I'm sitting under the learning tree myself.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's just, I just feel like it boils down to age / maturity. When you really understand how this business works, that to me sounds like something I would have said while I was still in OVW and really didn't understand the wrestling business, because I didn't understand the wrestling business till 5 years in with WWE. That's when I started really getting a hint, because that's when the honeymoon stage is really over and you really start to see what this business is really like.
Yeah.
So I just don't think he's been there yet. I wish him nothing but success. Don't get me wrong. Like, despite the comment, despite like the jab, like that,
Russian.
bro. I like I said to him, "Oh, you're cute."
Do you want to be signed full time somewhere?
I'm open to it. Like I said, I have a lot to offer, and of course, like also, I think finances. Romance without finance is a goddamn nuisance. So
I've never heard that before.
So while I love wrestling, of course, yeah, I definitely would looking for a long-term situation.
With the romance.
With the romance.
And the finance.
Like I said, I love what I do.
Yeah.
But
that's obvious.
I also have a mortgage. Sure. I have 2 kids, and a real bad video game habits.
What if WWE called? Would you go back to WWE?
I would definitely consider it. Like I said, that's the biggest. They're the biggest game in town. So because I worked there for so long, and yes, to answer your question, yes, I would go back if they offer me a position back and the right amount of money. Yes, of course I would go back. And I've said it before. You'd be a fool not to at least consider it, because I look at pro wrestling as a business. I love it, but it's a business. So despite everything that's happened, despite people's opinion on creatively how they've used me, it's still a business to me. I look at wrestling as a business. So I will make the best business decision, not personal decision.
We'll get right back to the conversation in just a second, but guys, I love sleep. I love sleep so much. That's why this episode is brought to you by Miracle Made. And if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the absolute perfect temperature all night long. And that means you get a better sleep every single night, because the more important thing than like the time spent in bed is the quality of that sleep time that you spend in bed. And because these sheets are infused with silver, they prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresher 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. So are they comfortable? Great question. They're as comfortable, if not more comfortable, than like the type of sheets you'd see in a 5-star hotel, but without that kind of price tag attached. It's summer. It's so hot out right now. The last thing you want to do is sleep hot. Go to trymiracle.com/CVV to check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. And whether you're buying them for yourself or you're buying them for a gift, if you order today, you're going to save 40%. They're on sale already, 40% off. But if you use my code CVV at checkout, you're gonna get an additional 20% off on top of that, plus 3 free towels. And they've got a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you really have no risk here. Trymiracle.com/CVV, use that code CVV for an extra 20% off and 3 free towels. Huge thank you to Miracle Made for sponsoring this episode.
What do you think's the most, like there's unfinished business for you in WWE. What's the story that you wish you'd had a chance to finish?
Obviously, I mean, the easy story is for the Hurt Business to really get a run.
Yeah. What happened there?
Bro, to this day, when I spoke to Vince and I asked him why, his comment was, we've gone as far as we can with the Hurt Business.
That doesn't seem accurate.
Yeah, and I've had quite a few conversations with Miss McMahon, and that was the first time that I could look at him and go, okay, now you're blowing smoke. Like that's bull. But that's also when I was like, okay, I don't see much happening here. At least right now, like But
with the amount of talent that you guys had in that group,
mm-hmm.
Even if you just turn on one another, oh my goodness.
Hey, again,
you're like, I know.
Again, you're preaching to the choir.
Like you and Bobby and you and Cedric, like,
yeah,
MVP's just brilliant.
I don't know. Like it really is like the biggest head scratcher ever. And mind you, I've been in situations before where I felt like things were ended prematurely. Team Angle, in my opinion, was ended prematurely. Like we were Team Angle for less than a year. I feel like we had a big impact, but they broke us up way, way too quick.
Yeah.
The Momma Angle.
Yep.
That got 8 weeks from start to finish. 8 weeks. And so many people remember it, but like it's, we spoke before, it ended prematurely.
Yeah. Why?
That I know Thea had some medical issues. But there may have been some stuff that I wasn't aware of at the time. Like since then, there have been some stories that came out, some inappropriate behavior things. This is all stuff that was never brought to my attention. I just showed up to work one day and they were like, okay, we're done with the mama gimmick.
You could have had a new mama. Like, remember on Fresh Prince when there was a different mom? No one would have said anything.
New Aunt Viv.
Yeah, new Aunt Viv. You could have had a new mama.
Yeah. Honestly, while I could have had a new mama, no one could follow Thea. That woman was she was a hurricane of personality. She was, for that mama role, she was awesome. So I don't think, I think in that role, she's kind of irreplaceable. Mm. I could have had
I'm sure they said that about the first Aunt Viv too.
They did say that about the first Aunt Viv. But in the case of Mama Benjamin, yeah, I don't see anybody topping what she created. Like it was awesome.
What about the gold standard? That also felt like it was start stop.
So the gold standard thing, that I think we spoke before when I said that I went blonde because I didn't want to be in a tag team. They put me back with Charlie, and I love Charlie, but I felt like my career at that time, that was a step backwards. And Dusty Rhodes was running ECW. So the initial run of the gold standard was Dusty Rhodes doing. And then he got sent to OVW or developmental. And that's when things just kind of, I don't know if they just didn't know how to write for me or just didn't want to invest the time. I don't know, but yeah, like you said, things just started stopping and starting, and that's happened a few times.
When we look at all of those, what's the run that you wish you had had a little bit more time with?
You mean a Team Angle could have gone a little longer?
Sure.
The Hurt Business could have been going to this day.
Yeah.
From a single standpoint, I love the gold standard gimmick. Like, I wasn't blonde as a fashion statement. I just want to make that clear. But,
You were just blonde to be different.
I was blonde to be different, and it worked. It did exactly what I wanted it to do. So I would have liked to seen that.
Did you just go to the drugstore and just bought like a box of dye? Oh no, you went backstage, right?
No, so this is what happened. So Steve Austin had came and Stone Cold. He came and he basically addressed the locker room, and he was saying things about, asking for forgiveness, not permission, taking risks, going out there and really trying to create something and, reaching for the quote unquote brass ring.
Yeah.
And I had been toying with the idea of dyeing my hair. I just want to do something different that if I didn't like it, I could change it right back. And immediately after that meeting, I just went to one of the girls who did the hair and said, "Would you dye my hair for me?" And she did it on the spot. When I walked into Gorilla, the people that had previously seen me earlier that day, I had black hair. When I walked in Gorilla that day, I had blonde hair, and it was like, I kind of remember Michael Hayes just kind of staring at me. It's like, kind of like, when did you do this? And, we went out and had a tag match out of, but again, it did exactly what I wanted to do. It created a buzz, and that's when Dusty said, "I want you for ECW." And that's when I went over, and things were, like I said, things were going great until Dusty got moved. And then things kind of, because I believe Dusty's plan that year was for me and CM Punk to face each other at Mania for the ECW title. Obviously that didn't happen. So, but I love Dusty for at least giving me that opportunity.
Everyone has a great Dusty story.
Yeah,
I feel like everyone got better from working with Dusty.
Oh, how can you not? How can you not? He's one of the greatest of all time. Like, Dusty's on my Mount Rushmore.
Who else is on there?
Dusty, Austin, Taker, Sting.
Pretty great Mount Rushmore. Yeah. That's pretty great.
Yeah, so I love those. Like, I loved working under Dusty. I loved working with Dusty. My little brother actually, my younger brother actually did a tryout while Dusty was in developmental, and like even while he didn't make it in the business, he loved Dusty. So it's like everyone, the man just exudes greatness.
It's so impressive. He worked with hundreds, maybe thousands of people. Every single one of those people has a story about how Dusty helped their career, helped their life.
Yes.
And what a testament to just the man that he is.
Yeah, like much respect to the entire Rhodes family. Like I've worked with them all. Dusty, Dustin,
and then Cody.
And Cody. So yeah, I mean, they're all a pleasure to work with. So I have nothing but respect for the entire Rhodes family, but especially, I think most people say especially Dusty, because Dusty actually helped me.
What was right after the platinum hair and the gold standard? What happened right after that? Was it the angle where you didn't speak?
So, no, after the gold standard angle, I was released. So I was the gold standard for about 3 years, and this is 2010. And I was released, I want to say in March, just before I'd gone back to school to finish my degree. So just maybe 3 or 4 weeks before I graduated, I was released. And that's when I ended up started doing indies. Me and Charlie hooked back up at Ring of Honor. And eventually I ended up in New Japan, which I still love to this day. New Japan it might go down to my favorite promotion to work with.
There's an option for you now.
Yes, like I would love to go back to New Japan. And it's more because of the at least the locker room culture that I experienced. And for example, if I walk into a WWE locker room, I can tell kind of where people are based on how they're treated backstage. Things like private locker rooms, access to the boss, a a lot of little things like that, some guys are just kind of like come into work, go have your match, zip it, don't, do whatever they say. There's no debating. This is what you're going to do, or, or you're fired. So when I went to New Japan, while I'm sure they do have their locker room politics, just from how I saw people being treated or how I saw different talent interact with anyone, I couldn't tell who was the top guy. I knew Tanahashi was the top guy there. Okada hadn't, when I first got there, they were just now starting to invest with him. But a lot of the top guys, like just looking around, I couldn't tell the top guy from the bottom guy because everyone was treated with such respect. Everyone was like, respect for each other. There was no rudeness. There was no kindness. There was no private locker rooms. It was like they were a team. It was a team, and you could tell it was a team. So I think it's more. I love their culture, their locker room culture.
Yeah, you've got an opportunity now to work with people that you never had a chance to work with before.
Mm-hmm.
Are there a few that immediately come to mind?
Immediately?
Like if you go to New Japan, who are we having a great match with?
Everybody.
Yeah, the whole roster.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Seriously.
Yeah, like I could have a great match with anyone there.
Look, again, you could have a great match with anyone. And then that's the end of the sentence.
Right.
It's true. It's true.
You flatter me, man.
Come on. Everybody
blushing
knows
over here.
Everybody knows that. There's some matches like you against Will Ospreay would be incredible if you went to AEW.
Wow. That's actually, he's actually in my top 10 of guys who I would love to work with. Will Ospreay, there's a lot of guys who I haven't worked with in a long time that I want to work with again. Like Christian. Back in the day, Christian was, he kind of broke me in. Like he was my biggest rival during my first run as the IC title. And I would love to work with him again. I would love to work with Ospreay. I would love to work with Swerve. Yeah, like it. I really like working with anyone. To be honest, like surprisingly, and I'm kind of getting off track here, but I just recently worked in the UK, and I wrestled a kid named Leon Slater. Never heard of him before, and had a great match with him. He was 19 years old. He's officially, to my knowledge, the youngest kid I've ever wrestled.
Wow!
And I had so much fun with wrestling with this kid, and it was like, it's kind of like I'm discovering things that I enjoy, that you have to be in. Like, you have to be in the business for a long time before you can appreciate these kind of things. So when I'm wrestling a 19-year-old kid and he's, afterwards, he's cutting a promo saying how he used to carry my action figure around as a kid, and, like, to have a great match with a kid like that and to know I've had that kind of effect on someone and they're really pursuing it, like that was an awesome feeling.
Yeah.
Like he has no idea how much he made me feel proud of my own body of work, that because this is ultimately what I want my legacy to be. I want to be someone that people look at and go, I want to be like that guy, work hard like that guy, be a champion like that guy, model myself after that guy. And when he made those comments after the match, it really made me go, okay, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
You actually did it. And even if it's just one, like this is one of those things that I live for. I didn't know I lived for it until I felt it. And he really made me feel it.
You're at the top of the list when people talk about underutilized talent, underappreciated talent, underrated talent. Which one of those unders do you think is actually most applicable to your career? Is it underappreciated? Is it underrated? Is it undervalued?
I would say undervalued. Mainly because I think, to your point, most people know I can have great matches with anyone. But great matches is not necessarily the most important thing in WWE. In New Japan, I don't think I was undervalued. In Ring of Honor, I don't think I was undervalued because they really push wrestling. Like that's what's at the forefront. In WWE, there's a lot of glitz and glamour.
It's entertainment first.
Right.
Yeah.
And so while it was, we say pro wrestling, like the entertainment aspect of it, like I'm an athlete first. Like, and I'm fine with that. But because of that, it's like, yeah, the guys who were a little more theatrical, it's just valued more there because it's easier to market. And I understand that. I don't like it, but I understand it.
What do you think prevented you from taking it to that next level?
It was too nice. Not a big enough asshole. Not willing to cut throats.
You didn't fight enough for yourself?
No, I didn't, because I felt like my work should speak for itself, and I didn't want to fight for myself. I knew what my strengths were. I knew what my weaknesses were, and obviously I tried to work on them. But at the end of the day, it's like sometimes once you're typecasted or pigeonholed into one idea, no matter what you do, they won't let you out of that. And I know I used to get so much slack from my promo work, and it's like, yes, I was horrible at one time, and then, like I said, I improved, but while I improved, I still wasn't as flashy. Like, if I would say I'm the anti-Cena, because I don't believe in a wrestling match, in a move for move, whatever, he can't hold a candle to me. But when it comes to my skills, I'm at the shallow end of the gene pool, so to speak. So, and I just think what he brought to the table, they value more. Or even my look. Like, I was in the land of giants, and when you got a guy like Brock, like, you cannot be. It's really hard to stand out when standing next to a Brock and a Batista. You know what I'm saying? So, while I always had a great physique and things like that, again, you got these monsters around you. It's really easy because it's also visual. Our audience is visual. So, they're little. I don't want to call them shortcomings, because they weren't shortcomings. It's just a matter of what the company valued at the time.
Why not put you with a great manager? Like, could you imagine what your career would look like if you were a Paul Heyman guy?
So I can answer that question. They did put me with a great manager. His name was MVP. It was in a group called The Hurt Business. And we took the world by storm for about 8 months before they ruined it.
Yeah.
That's how I...
But what if earlier in your career, once everything with Brock and Paul Heyman was done, what if you were a Paul Heyman guy when Brock was in UFC at the time?
Sky's the limits.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's
that was never pitched? Not Paul specifically, but a great manager?
I'm pretty sure it was. Like, it's been mentioned before. Like, a lot of the agents have said things, maybe you need a manager, whatever. So, again, I say it boils down to I was just too nice. Like, I was taught to just, again, let your work speak for itself. I'm not going to go argue for a spot. I'm not going to go cry for a spot. I'm just going to keep doing my job to the best of my abilities. And whatever you ask me to do, it's like, okay, I'm just going to do it. It's very rare. It's been very rare that I said, no, I'm definitely not going to do that. And there's only one thing I can really look back at and go, I wish I never had done that.
What's that?
The Yoshi Tatsu promo on ECW. That is to me, the biggest black eye of my career. Just because, quite frankly, it was just racist. And that it didn't reflect who I was then. It doesn't reflect who I am now. And literally from the moment I did it, or we did that segment, I hated it. I love the story because, he kicked me in the head and beat me in 2 seconds. That's exactly how that story should end. But just the fact that sometimes I'll see that pop up and I'm like, that's the one thing I wish I would have put my foot down and go, I'm not doing this.
Do you remember saying no to other things?
Yeah, there's been a few matches or that, times I've shown up and they wanted me to be in a certain type of match and or there was something else going on to where I was like, no, I can't work today. Whatever this is, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Or I'm not comfortable with this. But again, that very rare. It's very rare occurrences. But again, that Yoshi Tatsu promo is the only one that I wish I could erase from history.
I mean, there's so many other things that are much brighter spots of your career. Those are the things people remember.
Yeah, thank goodness.
We talked about it last time, but it's so good. You versus Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. So most people, excuse me. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with that match because while it is undoubtedly one of the best, brightest, biggest matches of my career, to me it also signals a fork in the road that didn't go to where I wanted it to. In my opinion, I proved you put one of your best ever in the ring with me and we can go and we can tear it up and have a match again that remember for decades later.
Yeah.
I felt like that's when, to your point, either give me a manager or, or at very least help me along a little more in my weaker areas. But I felt like when they could have gone this route versus put me on an 8-month losing streak before you introduced Momma, you know what I mean? It's like, I felt like that's when I showed the world I can be a star if they let me.
Yeah, a loss to Shawn Michaels could have propelled your career.
Right. Here's the thing: a loss to Shawn Michaels, that's a moment of getting over while going under.
Yeah.
And I felt like that's what happened. And I've had other moments like that too. Again, I had a month-long feud with The Undertaker. And again, that was another moment. I'm like, okay, this is where I can get elevated. And it didn't happen. And again, I don't know why these things are. I've never had a bad rep. I've never had a bad attitude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, everyone has their moments of stupidity, and especially when you're young. But I've never felt like I've rubbed anyone the wrong way.
Yeah, nobody has anything bad to say about Shelton Benjamin.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Might be an ex-girlfriend or two.
But yeah, I feel like your reputation precedes you. And I'm really curious what your next move is going to be. Everybody is. Mm. Maybe you're curious about it too.
I'm curious too. Nothing's in stone, and again, the floor is wide open for anyone that wants to take advantage, and we can sit down and have a talk. But in the meantime, I am just enjoying life. Mm. I'm having fun. I prefer to. I'm a grateful person. I've lived a charmed life. I've accomplished. On a personal note, I've accomplished most of what I've set out to do in the wrestling business. There are a few accolades that I still wish I had, but for the most part, I live a charmed life. So if anyone's feeling sorry for me, it's a wasted sympathy. You know what I mean? I'm save your pity for the weak. I'm fine and I'm doing good and I'll continue to do good. So that's pretty much where I am right now in life.
That springboard into the super kick, I feel like that's the Shelton Benjamin HBK spot. It's done a few times, been done a few times.
It's been done a few times, and it's funny, I've been asked a few times to do it on the indies, and no. No. That's the Shelton HBK spot is just that. Shelton and HBK. If you're not HBK, I'm not doing it.
The spot's so good because it's so unexpected. And that's the best thing about wrestling is when there's a surprise, when you don't see it going that way. But it's also, it kicks your head off.
So, and a lot, I see these jokes all the time. People say, to your point, takes my head off. And with all due respect, I shouldn't say with all due respect, Sean barely touched me. Like, he's that good. It looks like he took my head off. I sold it like he took my head off, but he barely touched me.
Huh.
Like, it was one of those, when I took the bump, it was like, okay, that was cool. Like, I heard the reaction, but nah, Sean, it looked great. And like I said, people still saying, has Shelton woke up yet? But I'm sorry, but he's such a professional, and like I said, it was so easy, and it was the timing on it was perfect. He didn't touch me.
It's one of the greatest matches in the history of Raw.
Yeah. And again, like, I have with those kind of accolades, like I said, I have a lot. I choose to focus on what the good that was, not the what if.
Yeah.
Because everyone, if you're going, what if I could have done? Oh, if I only did that. Like, no, it's well, what did you do? You know what I mean? And I got a long list of great moments, moment after moment after moment. So, like I said, I focus on positive.
You in ladder matches was magic. How did you start to approach, like, just the fun things you would do?
I have no idea. Okay, so the first match, that was Edge and Jericho treating me like a video game, because I wasn't when they were going over the match. I was at the THQ video game Superstar Challenge, winning it, by the way.
Aren't you a Guinness World Record?
I'm a Guinness World Record, for playing video games. Go figure.
What a life.
Yeah. But, yeah, eat your heart out, Woods. But, yeah, I have no idea when or how I got good at those things. It's accident. And I'm very serious when I credit the fact that I was a rambunctious child that would climb anything, fall off houses, trees, whatever. It didn't matter. I was a little daredevil, and my mom broke many a switch on my tail trying to get me to stop doing this stuff. But again, it just came in handy as an adult. So a lot of the stuff that I was doing or able to do was because, just me being a big kid. Like, that's really all it was.
Running up the ladder like it's a set of stairs. Crazy.
I've probably done that a million times as a kid. Never thought anything of it.
Jeez. Which one are you most proud of?
You mean as far as the spots go?
Yeah.
Or I'll be honest, the springboard onto the ladder, that was an original. So anytime I can create something no one's done before, like that, the two runs, they were great, but I loved when I did the springboard onto the ladder. I think Rob Van Dam won it that year. I think I did like a sunset flip powerbomb to Morrison. Not Morrison. Was it Morrison? It was two guys. I feel like, oh man, I have the spot in my head, but I don't have the people. But I did a sunset flip while the other guy was suplexing.
Oh yeah,
the other one. Oh man, they're gonna be so mad at me because I can't think of who it was. I feel like it was John Morrison and someone.
We can try to look it up here. We have all the world's information in our pocket.
Right.
Let's see. What was the other? You said you were going to clear something up about John Morrison.
John Morrison. Okay, so, and mind you, let's make this clear. That's
Okay.
my dog. I love him to death, and
Yep.
this is all in fun. You know, this is kind of a Mia Yim type dig. So don't. But in an interview he did with you, he said that no one was there when he did the backflip with the ladder onto the pile, and I even commented when I saw the clip. I was like, "Are you kidding? Look at the tape. Everyone else is backing up. I'm stepping in." So John, I want to retract from that statement.
Is this it? Is this the match?
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't. I think it was the third one I was in.
Oh, wait, this is a whole bunch of your moments.
But there's a sunset flip.
Apparently you have too many highlights.
You know, it's all, like I said, it's all about making those memories for the fans.
Jeez, this is just insane. Look at this. All right, this is WrestleMania 25 and you're jumping off of a ladder. You're really high.
Okay, so
I'll find the moment.
for that particular one, that was Taker and Shawn had their second match, I believe. And there was a spot where I think Taker was going to do a dive.
Yes.
So for some reason, they said they didn't want anyone diving off the ladder, or they didn't want anyone diving out of the ring to the floor or something like that. I think they were just trying to protect the spot that was coming later. And I said, okay, so you don't want anyone diving out of the ring? No. So, okay. Well, how do you feel about someone diving while outside the ring? So that's where I came up with that. I'm like, I'm going to do something. So
There's a spot where you get dumped off a ladder.
yeah, my buddies, Carlito and Mr. Kennedy.
And you fall through another ladder and break the ladder.
That again was my idea. But hey, I was young. I was hungry.
It looks very painful.
So going through the ladder, not painful. The problem was when the ladder broke, when it fell and hit the ground, one rung hit me in the back.
Oh.
And that's the only thing that hurt. Going through the ladder, piece of cake. Like every time I have a ladder match. Anytime I have a match where I have to actually collide with the ladder, my brain says break the ladder. Because if you it's like taking a bump. If you try to take a soft bump, it's gonna hurt more than anything.
Yeah.
So you gotta attack it.
Yeah.
So I looked at the ladders the same way. So anytime I'm running into it, like my goal is break it. And usually I usually it ends up I don't feel anything.
You just cut from a different cloth here. Straighten out this mic here. I feel like I got hit.
Oh, sorry.
There you go. The ladders are made of something else, though, right? Like they're meant to be broken?
The ladders are metal. Ladders are metal. There is no specially manufactured pro wrestling ladders or any nonsense like that. I think they're cheap ladders, but they're ladders. They're just, you can go to Home Depot and grab a couple.
I am still blown away by how you run up them. Like you make it look too easy.
Yeah. For me it was.
This guy.
For me it was.
How much longer do you think you can do this for?
I don't know. I mean, I see guys like Billy Gunn's on 60 now?
He's 60.
And by the way, Billy Gunn is the greatest athlete in pro wrestling. Period. Because if you want to judge athletes, you can't. If you want to judge the greatest, you can't look at it from when they're in their prime. You got to look at the entire length.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Who's done it? Who's been as athletic, as long, high quality matches longer than Billy?
And he looks amazing.
Billy is like I say it all the time. Billy on TV, David Banner. Billy in person, the Hulk. Like he's phenomenal. I consider Billy Gunn the greatest athlete ever in wrestling.
Wow.
But again, it's because of his longevity.
But there's a lot of guys who still look great 20 plus years into their career still perform great, like Brock, Bobby Lashley. I mean, that's John Morrison, who we were just talking about. But you're saying Billy Gunn's the best.
I think Billy Gunn at 60. I think Billy Gunn
looking better than he did in his debut.
Yeah. I think Billy Gunn could probably outwork, outpace anybody today. Like no one's gonna outwork Billy Gunn, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's the greatest. I think far as athletes go, I think he's the greatest. Probably most, as far as athletics go, probably underrated. Because Billy's a big boy, and like I said, to have gone that long, to look that great, and to still be able to do it, I'm not trying to take that mantle.
I don't think people realized how big he was because he was in WWE, with all these other large athletes, right? And then he does the Casino Battle Royal in AEW, and people go, "Oh, he's a monster!
Oh yeah,
he towers over everybody."
Yes, towers over me. Like I wrestled Billy maybe twice, and this is while doing this is when I think I did a gauntlet match. I had 3 matches in a row on SmackDown. I had to wrestle Charlie, then Billy, then Rey Mysterio, back to back, same show. So, and it was after that I got drafted to Raw. But man, even then I was like, Billy is a beast. Like Billy is scary big.
And he's so underrated at making people look great in the ring.
Yeah.
Like he's really good at making other people look awesome.
You said this about me. Name a bad Billy Gunn match. I can't think of one.
Yeah.
Singles, tags, I can't think of one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Maybe there's something there for you guys.
Maybe. Maybe. Like, I'm willing to work with him.
So you think, could you go for another year, 2, 5, 10?
I'm pretty sure I could do 2 easy. 5 depending on the schedule. But I also don't want to overstay my welcome. I've been doing this a long time, and there's going to come a time I have to stop thinking selfishly and look at things like where, as far as the wrestling business go, where am I a bigger benefit? In the ring or behind the scenes? Right now, I still feel like I can be a huge contributor in the ring. Definitely can still be behind the scenes, but again, this has to be in the right place before I can do that. Yeah. And that's definitely coming. I will say that's definitely on the horizon, but right now I still feel like I got a little more I can give.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was up with the gimmick where you didn't speak? The GIF, whatever we want to pronounce it.
Do a little impression for you. We don't know where we're going to go with it yet, but we're just going to do this for now, and we'll see where it goes. That's about as much instruction as I got from that.
So we're going to have you not say anything, and you're going to look around. You're going to look confused. Like kind of like this.
Give a little smile and like, okay, where's this going? Oh, we don't know yet. We'll figure it out.
Where'd it go?
It up in flames.
I'm excited for what's next for you. And it's amazing how much has changed in the last year. But you've got so many amazing opportunities in front of you now. Sky's the limit.
Yeah, I'm amazed at how many opportunities are coming my way. Some opportunities that came my way before that I, unfortunately, while on the WWE contract, I couldn't take advantage of. Now I'm free to, pursue these projects and things like that. I just signed a deal to be on a board game. I just, obviously I just launched some T-shirts and things like that. And I'm hoping to try to do some acting at some point. But again, just having that freedom to pick and choose whatever you want to do, it's work. I mean, it's not easy. It's work. You really got to hustle. But it's so much more rewarding to know that this is what I created. This is what I've done for myself, and hopefully some people will enjoy it along the way.
You got a lot of love when you were released.
Yeah,
a lot of love.
I really appreciate the fans. Like, no matter what, the fans have always been very kind to me. And you know, all I can say is thank you. I hope to continue to you know, do good things and, you know, entertain people. And, you know, for the people that aren't my fans, I hope, you know, it's not too late to give me a chance. So,
so we wrapped up the last interview with this question. We'll do the same this time as well. And thank you, by the way, for just being so awesome. Thank you for making the time to do this as well.
Oh, glad to. Thanks for having me again.
What are 3 things in your life that you're grateful for right now, Shelton?
3 things that I'm grateful for. Well, I'm grateful for my wonderful children. My daughters are my world. And literally everything I do, everything I've done is for them. And, you know, so I can leave them something. And I want to make my daughters and, you know, I got a ton of nieces and nephews, but make them proud too. So I'm very thankful to have them. One, because they help me stay focused. I'm very thankful for my health. 24 years of beating your body against a brick wall. You know, a lot of people don't make it out, or a lot of people, having done it so long, are not in the same physical condition I'm in. So I'm very thankful for my health.
Does anything hurt right now when you get out of bed?
Oh, I have aches and pains all the time. But I have aches and pains. My neck hurt, my back hurt. I have all the, excuse me. I have all the symptoms of someone who's lived my life. However, that being said, I still live a quality life because I'm not so banged up that I can't have a fun quality, you know, that's the word I'm looking for. My quality of life is still really, really good.
Yeah.
But again, obviously 24, 25 years of this, yeah, there's going to be some things that are bang, like, you know, my elbow is kind of janky. My knees, you know, I got a little limp. But that to me, it's minor in the grand scheme of things. It's very minor. And I guess the final thing is that I still have a good reputation within the business amongst my peers. I've managed to hang on to my integrity throughout my career. Like I said, I wasn't the type to go beg for a spot, but I was also wasn't the type to complain when a spot wasn't given to me or I didn't have a spot. You know what I mean? I think integrity is a huge part. I think maintaining your integrity is very important, especially when it comes to the respect of your peers, which is most important. I feel like most, if not all of my peers, you know, there's a very defined respect. So I'm happy to have been able to maintain my integrity throughout all these years. And again, who knows what tomorrow will bring, but I plan to keep it that way.
Well, we're all excited to see what tomorrow's going to bring. So good to see you, man.
Well, hey, good to see you too, man. This is awesome. Like I said, I don't grant a lot of interviews, but I definitely enjoy coming to speak with you, and you know, because it honestly just feels like a conversation with a friend.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah. Let's go grab a beer now or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just got a new ride, so hey.
Hey, let's go.